Okay. Let's see here. So all of this is in shadow. Oh, and I get to draw his hand. Okay, so I both love and hate hands. Because hands are amazing. They really are. Ooh, yeah, hands. But there's a lot of times where hands are not great. Mean, evil, nasty things. And then you're sitting there going like, well, great, hand. Because they're complicated. Actually, okay, so there's a very scientific reason for why artists have a hard time drawing hands. So it's because hands and faces are the two hardest things to draw. And why that is our brain is geared to recognize hands and faces, like straight up more than anything else, inherently because of communication. Our brains are so geared to watching hands and faces for any form of communication that every time we look at a hand and a face, we instantly know if something's wrong. We might not know what's wrong, but we know that something is wrong. And oh, as an artist, that makes it so hard sometimes because you're like, I drew it right. I'm sure I drew it right. But no, you didn't. You didn't draw it quite right enough for the human brain. And then you get into the whole problem of uncanny valley. So either you have complete idealization, like symboly. Good job, Celeste. Symbol. So like this is a smiley face, right? And then, you know, on the other end you have like an actual smiling photorealistic face, which I can't draw as fast. And really this isn't even, you know, because this is still too cartoonish, but so like to here to the next step to like actual photo, right? Like photo, like one of my finished paintings. Well, so what ends up happening is the uncanny valley is this whole nasty concept that the human brain knows what faces, especially, should look like. And if you're too close to a photo without quite reaching it, so you're like kind of one step, like you're a bad photo instead of a good photo, right? Like the brain rejects this section. Like, and if you were just a symbol or like Disney, right? Like if you were a little mouse over here, little mouse, you'd be totally fine with either of these. Because our brain, the reduction of data to symbols, brain's totally happy with that. But if you get too close to a photo without actually reaching it, your brain rejects it completely. Super interesting stuff. Like, I love that sort of stuff, man. But yeah, there's all sorts of cool stuff. Hello. But yeah, me and my love of lectures about art and art theory. It's going good. It's going good. I've got. Okay, I am a lot further into this very, very, very large goblet of wine than I was expecting, but I'm doing good. Large goblets of wine basically make a night wonderful. No, okay, so for those of you who weren't here earlier, I am drinking a bottle of Chianti that one of my best friends gave me 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And I haven't really stored it in the best conditions. So I think it's going on just a tiny bit sour, which is sad because I love Chiantis. Absolutely one of my, probably my favorite red of the wines. But yeah, this poor one is a little long in the tooth. A little long in the tooth. Look at these fingers. Look at this man's fingers. Like, excuse you, sir. Okay, one second. So, his palm is definitely longer than his fingers, which, okay, I've got that down. You always have to just double check that your basic proportions are right. Man. Hands. You don't... Okay, there are sweet wines out there. My brother, I love him, but he's kind of ridiculous at times. So he loves what's called iced wine. Iced wine is a very, very sweet wine. There's actually a lot of whites that are very sweet as well. Um, I just tend to like really dry, really not necessarily sour wines, but I like dry reds a lot. No, I'm like the stereotypical person. I like my red wines and I like whiskey and bourbon. See, because so my family, we we knew somebody who had a bonded warehouse, which is, a warehouse for holding, in this case, it was alcohol, before any local state taxes are put onto it, right? Which is super useful for a lot of things, like business. Um, but oh my goodness. So we got given a bunch of bottles of alcohol, mainly wine though, that had been nicked by like the forklifts. So there's, glass shards on like the outside of the bottle, but the wine inside is just fine. Well, they've been sitting a little long on the shelf, and so especially for white wine. White wine does not have a very long half-life, right? Like it starts to go. Well, so my brother used to love telling me that, oh man, you have to try this Chardonnay. This is the best Chardonnay, which is a white wine. Best Chardonnay in the world. You have to try this, Les. So me and my young, youthful ignorance would come over. Okay, Nate. Well, okay, that makes me sound really young. But, like legally drinking age adult would come over and be like, okay, Nate, let me try it. And it started to turn to vinegar. So anytime I think about white wine, I think about these just nasty ass white wines that he was constantly trying to hoist on me. Because he didn't care. He drinks anything as long as there's an alcohol content. But I actually like it to maybe have a good flavor. I know I'm asking for a lot. So are you like leaving out catnip, or how are you summoning all the wild cats, man? I need to know for research purposes. You know. I think this line is too close in. Like it's more like that. There we go. Ah, yeah. I. Oh man. So like the best part of going op shopping today. And for those who aren't familiar, op shop is just the Australian slang for a thrift store or a second hand store. Um, it's short for opportunity shop. I always have to remind myself not everybody actually is fluent in Aussie slang. Um, but while I was out shopping and stuff, I found, oh my goodness, some of the best stuff. Um, I found these two amazing cat toys, which I brought back, and Liv immediately loved both of them, which makes me just feel like the best owner. I love feeling like a good owner. I love the thing where the kids like sitting in their blankets and they talk about how, they can't leave the bed now. The blankets have finally accepted them as one of their own. I think about that a lot with cats. Like, sorry, I can't move. The cat has finally accepted me as its own as it curls up on my lap. I was almost late to my doctor's appointment this morning because my cat was completely just curled up on top of me. I was like, I don't want to leave. I have no desire to leave. Oh no. Your family needs to be considerably less awesome or more awesome than they're currently being. I assume that sadly it is not. They have decided to finally take you dress shopping, right? Sucky people. Oh yeah, and for people who missed it earlier, this, I'll zoom in on him because he's so gorgeous. This is Ice Queen Will. This is his prom dress. He is waiting for Hannibal, who's super late because he's a jerk. Be like Ice Queen Will and super ready for your date. Not like Hannibal, who's a jerk. Alright, back to this Will. Oh man, hands, dude. Oh. Yeah, no. No moving. They claim their spot. Whoops. That's always the hardest thing when I want to start painting. So went back on her promise with you or with her friends even? Dude, that's rude. Like, I mean, I have to bail on plans occasionally, but I always try to let people know ahead of time, and I generally have a reason for it, like, well, I don't know, mental health? But just bailing on a plan, There you go. You get sad, broken heart. One second. Wait, your grandmother's Mother's Day wish was that you leave her alone? I'm legitimately angry for you now. Like that's fuck, man. Like my grandmother on my mom's side was occasionally a bitch, but that is a bitchy move. Oh, that's not really any better. Let me just I'm like internet hugging you right now, giving you lots of love and affirmation and stuff because fuck, man. You deserve way better than that. Way, way better. And I have very, very strong beliefs about how families should operate. And that's not fucking how it works. Oh, I'm so sorry, babe. Oh. Yeah, but whether it's normal or not, she shouldn't literally get rights to be, you know, the stepmother in Cinderella, which is kind of what she sounds like right now. And as much as we might all want to be Disney princesses, not necessarily before the whole like happily ever end or ever after. You guys ready for this? I'm zooming in on Will's face. Just trying to make this better. I could I could also switch over if you guys need me to draw like more of Will in his fabulous dress, but you know, the option's out there. So, I don't know if this is something you'd be interested in, but I have found some of the best dresses of my life at Goodwill because occasionally they have legitimate bridesmaid dresses there for like 20 bucks. So I don't know if it's something you'd be interested in, but grab one of your friends and just be like, "Hey, let's fucking go to an op shop and go to Goodwill or Salvation Army or St. Vincent de Paul and seriously check their dress sections because they have some really, really good stuff for cheap enough that it's affordable rather than, I don't know. I'm super used to buying secondhand stuff anyways, but at least that way you get a dress you want because girl, you deserve it. Fuck the noise of anybody who says you don't. Oh no. No. Trust me, there is a lot of drawing a line looks, trying to make it look like a face. Oh wait, it suddenly looks like a horse instead. Well, okay, time to redraw all lines. There's much control Z in all of this process. But thank you. A lot of it is just practice and practice and more practice. And then continuing to practice. I always like to think that art isn't necessarily a skill so much as it's insanity. Because it's really just never giving up. Because you don't start inherently good at art. None of us do. Nobody's inherently good at anything, really. Thank you. Yeah, no. Draw a line, erase. Draw a line, erase. Draw a line, erase. No, I mean, I enjoy. I'm really weird in that I actually do just love drawing portraiture, but a large amount of my process with portraiture is just me having a lot of alcohol to drink and then kind of mentally swearing at it a bunch of the time because fuck art, man. Bug, did you really just fly at my nose? Jerk. There's a very small fruit fly that was attracted by my wine, and he's trying to fly up my nose. Go away. Shoo. I don't know why he'd want to fly up my nose. No, 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 don't zoom in. Zoom back out. Zoom out. Okay. Sorry about that. Bouncing up the wall. Oh no, I mean we all have things that we naturally like grip onto. And for me, that's art. And I can't necessarily explain why. I mean, there is definitely something very cathartic about once you finish a piece and you look at it and you're like, I fucking made that. That right there, all that, that was me. But it's really only about 5 minutes before your brain goes, yeah, yeah, I'm sure glad you're proud of it. You do realize you messed up all of these areas. So, it's like anything else. But I think it's super important that we all have creative outlets, whether we're good at them or not. I just think being creative and having that form of expression is so important. So important. I know. I mean, so creative expression, whether it's writing or art or music or fucking interpretive dance, is so vital. Okay. So, I'm Christian, right? And I believe that God made us, and I believe that God is inherently creative. Like, he made everything, right? So, from my point of view, humanity is imbued with that same creativity. And even though we can't make nothing out or something out of nothing, we're still compelled to make things. And I absolutely believe that it's part of the human condition that we have to make something. I think that that's just so vital to how humans survive and how we make the world meaningful. And it's just anytime I hear about schools cutting, electives and humanities and stuff, I'm always so sad because I feel like so much of that is really where people find their outlets. And even if it's not what you end up doing for, you know, your paycheck, like I get paid a little bit for my art, but my day-to-day paycheck, I work as a secretary at a middle school. Not what I thought I was going to be doing. But it pays bills and it gives me medical coverage so that I can go to doctors, which, A plus, really what I need. Because I was not blessed with a healthy body, let's be honest. His hair is so fluffy. Ooh, that'll be an awesome degree. Probably more useful than mine. My degree was literally, so first I got a fine arts 2-year, and then I went back to school and I got a 4-year degree in interdisciplinary visual arts. Super highfalutin way of saying that I do all forms of art, like lots of medium. But also super props on your 4-part book series. I've got a buddy who's writing a series of novellas, and so every once in a while she hits me up to do like another book cover and stuff, which is super fun. But yeah, people who can write their own stuff just amaze me. That's just, oh, it takes so much. Well, I always laugh when people, ask like, do you have to have an art degree? No, you don't have to have an art degree. It doesn't help these days. I mean, literally 9/10 of what I learned about art and what I actually use every day in the art I do was online tutorials. Like straight up, I learned from YouTube. And I have no problem saying that because man, it was important at that time, especially early on when that was it, man. There weren't, art boot camps and all this stuff. Okay, okay. No, I love encouraging people with art. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Because again, I don't think that art has to be the way that you make money or the way that you put bread on the table. But if you enjoy art, fuck yes, you continue. Like, so the whole reason that, so this is page 25 of my Hannibal sketchbook. When I was a wee babe, probably 14 through maybe 16 or 17, I had a web comic. Okay, legitimate full web comic. It was terrible. The art was terrible. My writing was terrible. But it was something I was passionate about. And I made over 60 pages in 3 years. Okay? So I've been working on Hannibal Sketchbook now for just a little bit over a year, and I'm up to 25 pages. And it's honestly one of those things where when I don't feel like doing any other art, I'm just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work on a Hannibal Sketchbook page. Because it's just a piece of art that I can do for me, And yeah, other people enjoy it too, but it's not about them. It's about me actually enjoying the art for once, because so much of the art I do isn't isn't for me. And I'm kind of a weird artist in that I really, really deeply enjoy doing commission artwork. But commission artwork can also fight you like nothing else. Fuck wads, it can fight you. And so doing something where, you know, it's just straightforward, it's something I can work on. I don't have to be, I'm creative with the series in how I lay stuff out, but I don't have to make it all up from my head. Like, I have references, I have, things to follow and all this good stuff. Good groovy things. Makes it so much easier to work on this than almost any other project I have. But yeah, no, I honestly believe that any creative process you should have something that just like you can pour your heart and soul into and that you actually enjoy. Because if a creative endeavor just becomes soul crushing, you have to really take a step back and look at it and be like, why? Why am I doing this? Why has it become so difficult? And that'll tell you a lot about your own emotional state and where you are, because oh my goodness, the amount of times that I've looked at a project and been like, oh, this project literally isn't helping me right now. This is doing nothing beneficial for me. And sometimes you have to do it because it's a paycheck. I have pieces of art that I am not particularly proud of because I had a deadline and I was trying to get a paycheck. And that's sometimes how it goes. Sadly. But, you know, having stuff that you enjoy to work on in the interim, especially like with writing, oh my goodness. That's why I like RP. Doesn't have to mean anything to anybody else. I can just enjoy it. Does anybody else want to read about my ridiculous thoughts about, demons? Nah. But I can write about them if I want. There you go. Oh, look at his nose. Okay. His nose. Like, it's so broken and shapely in weird, weird ways. Look at this little nosy. Look at this little nose. Like, bum, bum, bum. Oh man. Okay, lips. I legitimately hate lips. I have a problem with them. It's a long and time-honored tradition of me hating lips. Well, Mad's lips are not symmetrical. No, I'm super happy that it helps you out. Because honestly, I I had some really, really amazing mentors when I was starting out with stuff and when I was learning. And if I can help other people and encourage them, like, fuck yeah. And if I can do it with copious amounts of swearing that is not appropriate for underage children, more power to me, right? You know, uh, no, little bit of a social chameleon. Like if I'm around people who aren't okay with swearing, then I definitely cut back. But otherwise, nah. Who cares? That is not his lip shape. Also, oh man, this nose is wrong. let's fix this nose. Well, I'm glad you guys think so. It's mainly just that I I kind of ruin almost all of my interpersonal relationships, and so at least if I can help other people on the internet, I feel marginally better about myself. But no, I've always really enjoyed teaching and like not on like a class level, but tutoring. When I was in college, I did a lot of tutoring and I volunteered and did note taking and stuff and whatnot. And I don't know, I enjoy that aspect of assisting other people with learning. And again, I mean, like I said, almost everything I learned about digital art, especially, but really just art in general, that really stuck with and, improved who I was as an artist, I learned online. And so if I can give back and if I can help other people learn and, and really give them the confidence they need to take a step forward, like, hell yes, that is the most beautiful thing to me. Because there is so much out there where, like, the world is just an ugly place. And the more that we can do to help each other, like, the better. Like I briefly alluded to it on my Twitter, but one of my friends from high school, she loves doing makeup design. And it's not something she does full time. It's just, her hobby and, she thought about doing it, and ended up, finding out she really enjoyed teaching more. More power to her. She wants to be a teacher. But she did this fun, video about her makeup that she does and stuff. She does these beautiful surrealistic pieces and stuff. And so she had me model for her one time, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'd be happy to. Actually, I've modeled for it a couple times. And so she used that as a primary segment in this video that ended up getting reshared by George Takei and like his Facebook page. Like it became a thing, right? 50 or 500,000 views after a day, like crazy, that sort of thing. Um, and I read the comments, and almost all of these comments were just cruel. Like there was nothing uplifting about them, and I always take a step back and I go, what is the purpose of that? Like you've been gifted with so much, why lash out like that? Why what gives you the right to just trample on somebody else's, hard work, and so many of the people were saying, stupid crap. Like, oh man, I could do better in half an hour and, like, okay, if you can, then do it and show me. Don't just say you can and disqualify somebody else's super hard work. But yeah, so if I can encourage the next generation to continue working and to, find what they're passionate about, that's awesome. That is a really, really awesome gift, both for me and for other people. Look at his little teeth. Teethsies. Hey, if you feel inspired to write while watching, that is totally applicable and actually pretty much an A+ moment right there. I know it's always interesting working in a school in a non-teaching capacity because everybody's like, oh, what do you teach? I'm like, I don't. And they sort of look at me like, you're a second class school citizen. I'm like, I work in the main office. I make sure your building runs properly. But I don't have a master's degree, so they're like, we don't want you to teach things. Okay, I'll go online and teach people out there. Whatever. Will. Excuse me while I just like Hugh Dancy's face. Oh my goodness gracious. His neck should be like here. Huh? Let's just fix that neckline. There we go. Yeah, you can feel free to DM me on Twitter. I'll add you. Sorry, I was looking at his neck going like, why is his neck so wonky? Apparently I never fixed it. Let's see here. I think the other really great thing about this project, so the Hannibal sketchbook project for me, one of the best things about it, honestly, is just the fact that it forces me to not overwork stuff like I normally do. Like I have to just kind of give an end point to it and be like, okay, I'm now done with this. This is done. Which is really helpful. Alright, let's see here. So this is gonna be a completely different piece. Oh, there was. Look at this poor little sad man. Alrighty. Let's do this little dead person. I mean, look at this little burnt flesh, like A+ prop making right here. Let's see here. So we got... So I used to love painting and drawing zombies, like all the time. And it made my father deeply uncomfortable, which is always funny to me. Um, so anytime I get to actually like go back and do more zombies, always feels like coming back to my roots and be like, ah, yes, zombies. Zombies and the deadness. In large part just because I really enjoy anatomy, and zombies are such a great way of looking at anatomy. Look at this little dead flesh. It's all charred and burnt. Oh yeah, no, that's totally fine to ask. Um, it's kind of an interesting one. So, I have found that I get a lot of sales at anime conventions because I'm often the only hyper-realistic artist at anime conventions. And so a lot of people find it really refreshing to find my booth and be like, "Oh man, I didn't think I'd find anything like X, Y, and Z here." Um, the last comic book convention I went to, or I guess not necessarily comic, but I was up at, in Canada for Calgary Expo. And I felt like I had much lower sales, but one of my major selling points is my supernatural stuff. And there just so happened to be 5 other artists who had legitimately beautiful supernatural artwork. So, I mean, but even then, supernatural was still my highest selling stuff there. So, I mean, like it affected me some, but not enough to make it like a bad con or anything. Um, Honestly, what's really hard for me is trying to sell at little things like expos or like craft craft fairs and stuff like that, because my stuff is fine art, really, honestly. Um, and so a lot of the time I don't get I I've done a couple events where I didn't even make back my table fees, honestly, because people just weren't looking for what I was selling, and that's totally fine. So, I mean, it kind of hurts because you'd like to make back everything, but it's always a good reminder that you are completely at the mercy of the clients. And it's super important to know, are you using the right hashtags online? Are you selling at the right events? Are you, putting yourself out there in an environment that you're likely to get, any sort of good feedback at? You know, I I wish my stuff sold better, but I also know that I have a really bad habit of kind of pigeonholing myself into a certain amount of very limited fandoms and very limited subjects. And so, if you don't have the exact character that they want, well, then they're not going to buy from you, and that's fine. But it's definitely something where I know that I just need to put out more product. Although, so funny story. Um, One of the reoccurring characters that I get asked if I have is Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier from Marvel, right? And that's, legit. People like him. Okay, that's fine. But I've had a couple people buy my Sam Winchester painting thinking that it's Bucky Barnes, and I'm not quite honest enough to tell them that it's not. And I laugh about that every time. Um, what fandoms am I actively in? Okay, well, dude, Fallout. I love Fallout. But every single time I've tried to play those games, I've had like fatal errors with my games, and I haven't been able to finish any of them. So I'm a little snarky against them too at the same time. Yeah, no, I worked retail enough years that that is definitely true. Customer always right. What fandoms am I in? Okay, so actively, obviously the Hannibal fandom, like not really a surprise. Um, but beyond that, I'm still vaguely in the Supernatural fandom. Like I always wait until the latest season has come out on Netflix or something, and then I just have a lot of alcohol and I make a drinking game out of it. And that's basically how I have to watch them now, because I can't emotionally invest in them anymore. Um, I definitely had somebody at a convention ask me if I would do Fallout characters for an OC commission. I was like, yeah, I'd totally do that. Just give me good references. Um, but yeah, other like active fandoms, like I grew up playing World of Warcraft, and every new expansion, I tend to go back and at least play a couple months of it. So I really want to do some World of Warcraft art just for me. Um, so that's one of those ones where I just haven't done it yet, but I want to. I also really want to do some Witcher, like the game series, The Witcher art, because I adore those games. So I guess that's kind of a fandom that I'm in. Um, this did not get dark enough. You just darken this with some extra like terrible lines. I have to zoom out and do this. There we go. What other? So there's plenty of like book series and stuff that I want to just do art for just because I love them, but I haven't yet. Excuse me. Um, so those are fandoms that I enjoy, but I'm not active participant in. Um, like one of my favorite book series of all time is Dragon Riders of Pern and the Harry Dresden Files. So very, very different styles, but both super important to me. Oh man, look at these. I get to do more amazing wrinkles. Wrinkles, you guys. Wrinkles. And I really want to do some World of Warcraft pieces. Like Illidan is my baby. I love Illidan, and the fact that I haven't drawn him yet in all these years kind of makes me sad. But I also know that there's times when I don't draw art of things that I really love because I'm worried that my skill level isn't good enough to really make make a piece worth seeing for it, which might sound funny, might okay, I think I said that in English. Um, but it's the same reason why I haven't started at all on my graphic novel idea, because I honestly don't believe that my art style or my understanding of graphic novels is to a point where it's ready to work on an idea that I've literally had for probably the past 7 years. So we all suffer from the same basic concerns about our art being our art or our our product being good enough. Oh man, the art for World of Warcraft is phenomenal. Like, oh man, what's his name? Chris Pine or whatever it is. He does amazing art every time he works on concept art for any Blizzard title. Like his stuff is just to die for. Look at this poor little dead body and its burntness. So sad. I hate drawing watches. I'm just going to admit that now. So that when you notice I don't actually finish this watch, you'll understand why. Fucking watches. Actually, anything that is elliptical in shape. Nah, not okay with. Not gonna do it. Ellipses are. His hand just looks like broken meat in this picture. Ah, kind of disturbing, actually, now that I look at it. Okay, so there's also definitely some movies that I love that I eventually want to do art of. Like, Blade Runner was such a huge influence on me growing up. That I definitely eventually want to get some art done of Blade Runner. Um, I need to fix that. I just did that wrong. Oh my goodness. This line should just not be there. Okay. Um, but yeah, Blade Runner, The Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, which is obviously the book, inspired it. But also things like Snow Crash and Neuromancer. Like, they're absolutely the reason that I occasionally freelance with Catalyst Game Labs on Shadowrun. Like, those books gave me my love of cyberpunk. Because, hot damn, like, cyberpunk is just, it brings up so many amazing questions about society and about the human condition. Um, that, I mean, all sci-fi is really good for that, but I feel cyberpunk, because it's closer to our current world, is better about really making us be introspective about the issues that we're currently dealing with. It's not so much of, Star Trek Voyager where, are you corrupting another planet? Well, that's not necessarily something that we can relate to. But, you get cyberpunk and it's closer to our current day issues because it's just closer to us currently. Um, and I mean the fashion in cyberpunk is just A plus. Would wear again. Speaking of which, completely off topic, 90% off topic. I found an amazing Etsy seller who sells cyberpunk inspired clothing, and I may have ordered myself a couple pieces of clothing for my birthday that I will be super excited to share once they come because hot damn. Oh my goodness. So exciting. Clothing falls. Nice. Manifest destiny is such an odd idea of entitlement to me. I don't know. Like, it's just such a strange, strange concept. So good for you for tackling that one. Okay, one second. I have to show you this Etsy seller because seriously, like, they're gorgeous. Okay, one sec. Yeah, no, I want to sign in as me. Who else would I sign in as? Like, look at this. Did you... Like, look at this. It's just, oh my goodness. But it's like a giant hood and a cowl at once. And then look at this thing. What is this gorgeous thing? Gorgeous. Okay. Back to art. I just had to distract you for a second. Ooh, nice. Okay, so like full-on world building is amazing. And it's honestly one of the reasons why I appreciate Herbert so much with the Dune series. Right? Like seriously, their entire thing of clothes is amazing. But back to Herbert. So all of the Dune series, he spent so much time thinking about an entire world building for Arrakis and making that so much more than just the usual, like, okay, well, I've made a couple things different. Like, he made everything about that work. And I appreciate it so much. But yeah, full on world building and like taking everything into consideration and then making things that aren't like our world. Yes. Because there's so many times where, okay, one of my pet peeves is when science fiction writers or, in books or movies have people say Jesus Christ as an explicative. Did Jesus exist on your world? Is he part of any of your universe's history? Like any of its mythos? Why would that be a swear word? Because it's so centered around Earth and our understanding of Judeo-Christian history. And like, that's why that means anything to us. It'd be like somebody, going, oh, my Buddha. Well, did you have Buddha on your planet? Little things like that, where we forget to take ourselves out and make another world, always bug me. Oh my goodness, guys. Yeah, no, little things like that really bug me in science fiction, especially. Just because we don't think about, well, certain swear words make sense. Like, okay, so shit is just derivative from excrement. Okay, pretty much any culture is going to naturally evolve to a point where we want to distance ourselves from excrement. Like, okay, I get that. You want to use that as a swear word. Cool, you use that in your language. But especially religious figures, that's so geared to the world. No, it's my pleasure. You go get some rest. I'll probably do another stream tomorrow in the afternoon at 3 p.m. PST, which is when I normally, quote unquote, do my stuff. But yeah, this is just an extra stream because I felt like it. Whoa. Oh my goodness, what did I... Oh, okay. I just pressed a hotkey. Okay. Let's go back to this. She's so... Okay, so this was such an odd episode in Hannibal. So, I don't know if you've seen it at all. I think you said you hadn't watched any Hannibal. So, this whole episode is about this chick right here who kidnaps kids from their family and then tells them that that wasn't their real family and their real family is the people that they choose. Okay, cool, main point. But then tells them that they have to go back and kill the family, like their birth family. And she's just this tragic, tragic figure. But it also didn't really catch me very much compared to a lot of the other murders in the show. So I always feel weird because I think she was supposed to be more compelling than I felt she was. I don't know. But yeah, well, and then it was really funny because um, the U.S. Broadcast companies wouldn't air this episode. Like they could only put it up online because I guess the idea of children killing other people was so just like I don't know. It was such a disturbing thought to them that they didn't air it. So all of us at the time who were watching it, we had to like live stream it from Canada or Korea because those were the two main other places that were airing Hannibal at roughly the same time. There's like a day ahead of us. Yeah, funny stuff. I still just remember that being like, okay, I guess that's a thing that you're not comfortable with, but what? Right? I mean, there's definitely a lot to say for the fact that, your family is who you choose, like who you decide to love. Because I've always believed that love is a verb, not a noun. Like you have to choose to love someone. Ugh, I did not draw this side of her face right. It's way too far out. Anyways, um, such an awkward angle. But yeah, so it's been really interesting trying to do, almost almost 10 pages on this particular episode and trying to find stuff. Yeah, no. What neck? Neck. Like this is not a flattering death scene, we'll be honest. Okay, so really her face should be ending more here. Let's fix that. Cheek. Where's that cheek? that. A little bit better. Is it right? Probably not. We'll get there. Plus, this episode just really didn't have any of the amazing like murder tableaus that I just love drawing from some of the other episodes. I don't know. It wasn't as gorily inspiring as some of the others. Let's see here. Okay, so her forehead is just nowhere near out as far as I put it. Like way more in here. Yeah, yeah. Then there's Will. I'll have to erase him eventually and put him on his own little layer and post him as his own little doodle. But at the moment, he gets to just be this little Will in a dress over there. That's like one of the other pages I was doing. I had Will with just dogs everywhere, and dogs were just appearing out of the air as a doodle. And for the longest time, he was hanging out with the page until I finally was ready to actually, finish it. And then I had to take him out. But I have a lot of little random doodles like that eventually should get recorded somewhere. For right now, they're not. Poor things. Look at this look at this amazing nerve right there. Or not nerve. Bad Celeste. Vein. That is a kick-ass vein right there. Like, look at her face though. Her face just is so amazing to me. Like, she's not inherently pretty, but she's got such an interesting face. Fix her hair. Her hair is way too big. I always feel bad because I'd like to play the music that I'm listening to on streams, but I think almost always once you start doing that, they like take all your streams offline because you have copyrighted music going. So I'm like, oh, I can't share all the cool music I'm listening with you guys. Sorry. Um, so I use Spotify a lot, and honestly, one of my favorite playlists is the It's Alt Good. It's a lot of alternative and like indie rock music and stuff, and it's just it's so upbeat that it's just kind of beautiful for working because it's just a lot of stuff that's real heavy, high rhythm and stuff. Easier to kind of keep working with that going on for me at least. I am super eclectic in my music tastes, except for country and rap. Like, it's very, very rare for me to like either of that genre. And when they're combined, it's even worse. I have found country rap before, and it just kind of hurts me a little inside. It's a fun one. The other thing I love doing is going onto YouTube and making, just following their like kind of generated playlist based off Sometime Around Midnight by the Airborne Toxic Event. Amazing group and even a more amazing song. Like it makes me have feels every time I listen to it. And that's always a good thing to do is, match it to what you're working on. A lot of times I just kind of try to match a mood more than anything else. It's like if I'm trying to do a lot of work, then I try to match just a high energy sort of like just distracting enough to keep me working without actually making me think about what they're saying. But yeah. Woman, why you gotta have mouths? What if you just didn't have a mouth and I didn't have to paint it? I guess, or sketch it in this case, but it's fine. I'll paint your stupid mouth. Oh, she's got like a little earring there. Okay, it's this mouth. Oh my goodness. So from a line, it's actually going higher than that. It's going more like over there. She's got such dry, like lack of any color lips. Thank you. Like again, I mean, I love this show because it forces me to have to draw a lot of different types of people, but also like they're all interesting faces in their own right. Like even her, who she has kind of this like oddly unpleasant face in some ways, is still an interesting face to draw. Like lower lip? What lower lip? She don't have no lower lip. She got real thin lips. Ugh, chocolate cake? At least my cat is like, dairy products or meat or something. My I think my brother and his wife's cat, one of them likes to eat popcorn, and that just highly confuses me. Like cats that want to eat human food just really don't make sense to me. I mean, I get I no, they just don't make sense to me. There's no understanding there. Yeah, popcorn. I had one coworker who their cat liked to eat donuts. Donuts. What? I don't know, man. I don't I don't know. Some weird stuff going on out there. Like first off, are you honestly giving your cats donuts to see if they like them? Because that just seems cruel from a human perspective. Like it's so not good for their system. That's not what they're geared for eating. Waffles. Hmm. Hmm. It's just shaking up. Shaping up nicely. So, super interesting thing about drawing teeth. Like, if you actually put a line, it ends up looking super freaky. So you have to just do like the lightest amount of shading to infer that the teeth are there. Otherwise, it looks weird. And I know that there's some reason for it, but I don't know why. It's just something I learned through a lot of trial and effort. Is that if you try to do too much with teeth, they become hideous. You're just like, ugh, I've destroyed everything. There we go. That looks pretty good. Alrighty. Now to flip it back regular and look at it. Oh, it's okay. Alright, Will. You're gonna get moved to a different layer. Uh, no, whoops. I just want to Control C, Control V. Okay. Apparently at some point I switched to painting with white. Whoops. Fix that. I do that though. I'll occasionally switch colors while painting, which can get kind of annoying. I mean, I have an overlay layer, so it doesn't always matter, but still. There we go. Now I just need the little maggoty bits. Actually, one sec. So the other thing that I need to do, though, is white. Okay. Figure out where the white highlights go. There we go. It's looking a little bit better. Giving her some more highlights. And some highlights of her hair over here. Yeah. Okay. Now, switch it. Oh, no. Switch it back. Okay, so now I need something really early. 0194. There it is. Haha. See these great little maggots? These great little maggots are gonna work in their way into here. Into here. Maggot time. I get to draw the most amazing things, like maggots and blood and dead things. Otherwise, people ask me to draw cute things like bunny rabbits and, you know, things. Like, do I have to? Can't I just draw more maggots and, you know, nasty things? They're like, no, Celeste, you have to draw cute things. Let's see. Yeah. Look at these happy little maggots. Little segmented little bodies. Little maggots. Little segmented bodies. I used to have geckos a long time ago. I had little leopard geckos. So I had this huge supply of mealworms that I always had to keep on hand for them. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for little segmented worms. Little larvae. Right? Like, I just get to draw the coolest stuff with this in this series. I get to stretch all of my artistic muscles. Maggots? Certainly. There we go. There we go. There we go. I like Spotify, but it definitely has some problems sometimes. So I'm not surprised. Took you a while to get something up. Yes. And then just that little bit of white highlighting just makes the pages pop. Oh, no. That definitely helps. It's like anytime a band's name isn't unique enough and I can't find them, I'm like, you did not think enough about marketing, did you? But yeah, unique names are super important. Ooh, nice. That is a good unique name too. Okay. Now what I need to do. This section is somehow still just a little bit lighter than everything else. There we go. That's better. If you can work in a pun in Latin, that's pretty legit right there. Okay. I think all I need to do is just the words for this one, and then holy shit, there's a lot of there's a lot of art to this page, and a lot of movement. Okay, so I got that saved. Close that down. Close that. So the irony is that I always use two different programs because once I've got it actually sketched out, then I take it over to Photoshop because I have a specific specific brush that I use for my calligraphy. Okay. Doing okay here. Let's do... Oh, my wallpaper changes each time. It's on like a half an hour cycle, so it cycles through a lot of stuff. A fair amount of it is, I think, League of Legends art, just because I love the art style of League of Legends. Like, promo art is incredible. And so different from mine and so beautiful. So I'm constantly like, yes. Approve. Okay. Now it's time for one of the harder pieces of the whole thing. You thought the sketching was hard. Oh no. No, I hand letter every single page. And sometimes I hate myself for it, but it's what I do. I need to open one of my previous pages here. I I don't even know at this point if it's dedication or just laziness, because like it wouldn't take me that long to make my own font. Like all I would have to do is go into stinking... Why does it feel so much greener? Oh, I think it's because that silver is still on. To go into like Illustrator or something and make my own font for it, but I just keep not doing that. But it's, yeah. I just have very particular things on how I want everything to look, especially for the text. And I actually do like hand lettering stuff. Do I have any Fs? I don't think I've done an F before. I have not done an F before. Oh, no, ha, I have. Okay. See, that's why I always double check. I try to keep at least some minimal. Um, what do you call it? That thing where it's consistency. There we go. Consistency in the lettering. So yeah, just like everything else, it's a lot of make a line, undo it, make a line, undo it, make a line, undo it. So the funny thing is this isn't my handwriting. I've kind of made this style of handwriting based off of the recipe cards that Hannibal has in the show, which also isn't his normal copperplate cursive. So it's this strange hybrid that kind of has become this like very specific one that I do just for this project, which is kind of cool because for years I'm left-handed, and so drawing and writing was always a huge problem for me because I would drag my hand through everything. Um, and it's only been the past year and a half now that I finally just told myself, you know what? Screw it. It doesn't matter if I'm left-handed or not. I can force myself to be better at handwriting. Like I'm not going to let this be, some stupid disability for writing. So, that was also kind of another deciding factor on like why I decided to hand letter all of it. Kind of just to show myself that I could. So now I take these 3 layers and I have to kind of figure out where they're going to look best. So I take off the undersketch. So there's a lot of moving just individual layers of stuff and being like, do I like where that is? Especially for the writing. There we go. Okay. That is page 25. So then I save it. Save, 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 save. Save a billion times because something always somehow goes wrong. And then there's this really cool thing called Save for Web in Photoshop, which, oh my goodness, I didn't know about this for the longest time. But you can change what size it'll save out as. Oh. And at the same time, what resolution it saves out as too, which is great. So now, instead of having to like size things down, size things up, all this crap, I can just do this one button. That makes me super happy. So now I'm going to here, handle pieces, handle sketchbook, and I grab that, and then I just call it 025. Save. So now, if I go into that file, that's the wrong one. That's this one. Go up. Where did it save? Seriously, where did it save? So if I say save, yeah, okay, it should be in there. But I'll put it in here too as well, just so that I have it both places. So now I should have it. There we go. So now it's saved there. Like that. And then that. Ho ho. Ho ho. So much more work. Okay. Alrighty, well, it's now 10 p.m. So I'm going to call it a night here. But thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed it. I figured I was going to do other stuff as well, but this page took a long time, which is awesome. So I'll be posting it tomorrow morning. Have a good Saturday night. Enjoy yourselves.